What is going on, guys? Welcome back to Tempus TV. Today we're talking money. Ow, still got a busted wing and I keep forgetting. But a lot's changed since my last budget video. Things have gotten more expensive, things have gotten a little bit more cheap, but a lot of tourists are coming back, so money has changed. Today we're gonna go through 5 or 6 things, talking budget-wise, how much it's actually gonna cost you to live here, how much it's actually gonna cost for a vacation, just an all-around estimate so you can have a better idea of what to bring with you. Let's get into it. So you may know, especially if you watched one of my latest videos, that Thailand can be super cheap or Thailand can be pretty much as expensive as wherever you came from. So if you're good at budgeting, you're good at keeping track of your money, you're good at sticking to what you want to spend, Thailand can be super cheap, especially compared to Western countries. But if you're the person who likes to go out, just let the card run, throw money around, it can get real expensive real quick. So I'm just gonna break down a few things. We're gonna go through a few categories just on what I'm spending roughly per month, just to give you an idea of the type of life that you can live with certain different, budgets. Okay, so first things first, housing. This is one that has seriously changed since I got here. I arrived in July of last year, 2022. It is now end of January 2023. Obviously things have opened up a lot more. People are starting to come back for vacations. People are starting to move back. So prices have gone up. If you got lucky and you locked in a lease last year, you haven't really seen it yet. But I've had a few friends leave and then come back and prices have gone up big time. So I only spend about 6,500 baht for my condo. Luckily, it's really cheap. I got a super good deal. It's got a motorbike included, even though the motorbike got me the other week. I got a video on what actually happened there if you're interested in finding out a little bit about that. But 6,500 is relatively super cheap. You can find places here for the same price, but if you like a little bit better facilities, you like, a newer building, be ready to spend more than that. So this can really range. You can get just a single 1-bedroom spot for 6,000 to 8,000 a month, or you can get a really nice, rooftop 40th floor with the rooftop infinity pool for 12,000 to 20,000 a month. It really depends. This is one that's pretty easy to research before you get here. So just decide what it is you're looking for in a condo, or if you're looking for a house. Fun fact, houses are actually generally cheaper here than condos, and that'll give you a better idea of where you're gonna stay. But me personally, I pay about 6,500 a month, plus electricity, which is about another 1,000. So about 7,500 to 8,000 a month. So another big one that can vary very much depending on what you're trying to do is food. So I only spend about, on average, 300 to 400 baht a day on food. You can spend way more than this, you can spend a lot less. Generally, it is cheaper here if you go out to eat most of the time, but that's if you're eating street food, you're going to like the fresh markets, places like that. If you're going out to restaurants and stuff all the time, it's gonna end up being a little bit more expensive. It really depends on what you're trying to eat. If you're planning on eating a lot of Western food, it's gonna be more expensive. There is a premium, even though it's gonna be cheaper than what you spend for that same food in your country, it's gonna be expensive as far as Thailand prices go. So if you would like to do a little bit of both, if you're gonna plan on doing, street markets, maybe a little bit of cooking at home, maybe go out once or twice a week, I would budget roughly maybe 800 to 1,000 baht a day for food. So that's 7,000 baht a week, 28,000 baht a month. So it could be a lot less than this. It could also be a lot more than that. Just be really realistic about whether you like to cook at home or whether you like to go out and eat more. If you're planning on taking people out to eat with you, obviously take that into account in your budget. But I'd say a good fair range is probably from maybe 700 to 1,000 a day for food. I spend a lot less than that. I generally don't eat that much. I might eat once a day, and I really like the markets and stuff, so I tend to save a lot of money on this, but it can get more expensive. So yeah, 700 to about 1,000 baht a day, or about 25,000 to 28,000 baht per month for food. Now your next big one is gonna be transportation. This can vary a lot as well, just like pretty much anything in this budget. It really depends on what you're planning on doing. So there's a few different ways you can go about this. Obviously you can get here, you can rent a motorbike, which honestly I don't really know about monthly prices, but I've seen anywhere from 4,000 to 8,000 a week. I've seen as little as 2,500 to 5,000 a week if you want to rent a motorbike. So that really depends. And if you're going to take taxis and stuff, that can get really expensive too, especially now that prices for taxis and stuff have gone up in the past few months. I'm on the Bolt app all the time. I do take taxis pretty frequently, especially in the past week or so. Obviously I can't ride my bike. So they have gone up about 30% in the past few months. A good way to budget it, I would say, generally to get around the majority of Pattaya, you're looking at anywhere from 80 baht for a motorbike to about 120 to 150 baht per ride for an actual taxi, like in a car. So I would say a fair shake would probably be budget maybe 250 a day for your taxis and transportations. This is gonna change a lot if you do have your own bike, but it can be, most bikes are gonna be about 350 to 500 a day. You do get a discount if you rent for a week or so or a little bit longer. So I would say budget about 250 to maybe 400 a day. So 250 a day, that'd be 2,000. I'd say budget about 2,500 a week, or about 10,000 a month for transportation. So probably the biggest one, if you're planning on coming to Pattaya, I'm guessing you want to cut it loose a little bit. There are over 1,000 bars in Pattaya. I wouldn't be surprised if it was closer to 2,000. So assuming that you're coming to Pattaya to have some fun, you want to go to some clubs, maybe go out with some girls, whatever it is, shoot some pool, drink some beers, whatever you want to do. This is your big part of your budget that could swing one way or the other super easily. When I first got here, I did go out quite a bit. I didn't really keep track of my budget, which is mistake number one. Keep track of how much you're spending, obviously. I don't go out too much now, but it really depends on where you're trying to go. Obviously, if you're gonna go to nightclubs, walking street, places like that are the main hubs for entertainment, you're gonna spend more, as opposed to maybe if you're over in Jomtien, you're going to a little lower speed bars, you know, just playing pool, hanging out, stuff like that. This can vary a lot. So assuming that, okay, so in Jomtien, you're gonna spend between 60 baht to 105 baht for a beer. In Pattaya, like central Pattaya in the main districts, you're gonna pay between 105 to maybe 140 baht per beer. This is kind of hard for me to ballpark for you because I'm not sure how many beers you drink when you go out or how often you're gonna go out. So it's kind of hard to tell, but that gives you an idea of how much things cost. Generally, stuff in Jomtien is gonna be almost half price as it is compared to central Pattaya. So just think about how many beers you drink per night and kind of take this into account. You're gonna be spending about $3 to $4 a beer depending on where you are. So with that in mind, just to get kind of a rough estimate, let's say you go out 2 times a week, you get 5 beers a night, which is pretty low speed for a lot of people, but that's 10 beers a week. We'll just round it to 100 baht just for the easy. That's 1,000 baht a week. You're looking at 4,000 a month, which is super, super low. But that's just to give you an idea. If you're going out and drinking 10 beers a night and you want to go out 3 nights a week, obviously triple that. So just off my budget, I maybe go out once or twice a week, have maybe 4 or 5 beers a night. So I spend about 1,000 a week on going out. So probably one of the cheapest things in your budget is gonna be like your survival stuff. Soap, toothpaste, toilet paper, all that stuff is very cheap here. There's plenty to find everywhere. And this is gonna be probably the most minuscule part of your budget. I mean, if you buy 1 tube of toothpaste and you're gonna be here for a month, assuming you only brush your teeth twice a day, that should last you the entire time. But rough estimate about what I spend about 250 baht to maybe 300 a week. Sometimes you need random stuff. I have a washer in my apartment, so I have to buy soap to wash my clothes and things like that. So I spend about maybe 300 baht per week on the essentials is what we'll call it. And one thing that a lot of people don't take into account is if you're planning on staying here long term, visas are gonna be a part of your budget. So this really depends on what you're trying to do and how long you're trying to stay. I don't really like to give advice on visa specifically because everybody's different and I don't wanna give anybody any wrong information and have something happen at immigration and then I would feel responsible because I gave it to you. But depending on what type of visa you're on, it's gonna cost you money, whether it's monthly, whether it's every 6 months, whether it's once a year. It's gonna cost you money to renew, extend, and all that stuff. So depending on what you wanna do, go to the immigration website. All the fees for extensions and filing and all that stuff is listed on the website. So take this into account with your budget as well. And one more thing to add is gonna be your secondary essentials, your first essentials, whatever you wanna call it. And that's pretty much gonna be phone and internet. I know a lot of people now just like to hotspot off their phones, but with me, with YouTube and everything, I do need internet in my condo. But luckily this is very, very cheap in Thailand. And it's one thing that hasn't changed since I've been here. I pay 200 baht a month for my phone, and that includes unlimited internet. I got like the mid-tier for internet speed, unlimited talk and text, and then I actually rolled my Wi-Fi into the same program, which is another 150 baht a month. So that's 350 baht a month that I pay for internet and my cell phone. So the grand total with housing, food, going out, like I said, this is just my budget roughly. I actually spend a little bit less than this. With all that stuff that we talked about and just kind of averaging everything out, it came to 46,550 baht a month. So right now the US dollar is exchanging at about 32 baht per dollar. So we'll go ahead and divide that by, actually it's about 33. So we'll divide that by 33 and you're looking at $1,410 a month. So this is, in my opinion, pretty high depending on what you're trying to do. If you're just coming here on vacation, I would expect to spend a little bit more than that because you're gonna be trying to have the full experience. You're gonna be going out more. You're gonna be going to islands, stuff like that. But just as a survival, you know what I mean, just living budget, I think this is a little bit high, at least for me, but this is a very fair bet. If you have $1,500 a month in disposable income and you're paying attention on what you're spending, it's very, very doable to live off that, especially here in Pattaya. Bangkok's gonna be a little more expensive, Phuket's gonna be more expensive, places up north like Chiang Mai, Chiang Rai, they're gonna be a little bit more cheap on some stuff, but I think this is a very good baseline for about what it's gonna cost you to have a very fun but responsible life here in Thailand. You can go much higher, you can go much lower. Really depends on you. As always, guys, thank you so much for tuning into Tempus TV. If you'd like to learn more about living in Thailand, feel free to jump over to my Everything Thailand playlist. There's tons of information there to be had. I post every day, so there's always new stuff getting posted. And if you have any other questions, feel free to drop them in the comments below or hit me up on my direct line on Patreon. I hope you guys have a great day. I'll talk to you later.